Dear, there we go. All right, we are.
Yeah, I was feeling left out last week. I didn't know what was going on till I watched the recording.
Oh, that's right. I had a dark week. I guess you weren't on the week before when I announced that.
Well, I was, but I'm not able to stay on until the end because I have another group that I do training for. So like today I'm all dialed up because I'm one of the presenters. So at least
Well,
I
I
think I'm
was
dialed up. I don't know about y'all if you
I
think
was
I am.
wondering how many people were going to jump in and not be able to get on.
I looked
But
at my notebook and I went, oh, yeah, he's dark. Okay, let's go work. By the
yeah.
way, John, I sent you an email early this morning for help with the bot thing.
Yeah.
So maybe
Yeah.
sometime before 3, we can chat or you can send me a note.
Okay, I already did. I sent you an email
Oh, good.
back. Um,
Thank you.
nothing to worry about. We can get you all fixed up. So.
Okay. Thank you. You're always the magician.
I'm gonna get you handled.
Thank you. Thank you. Well, I'm excited.
I also sent your web doc in to my web guys to
Oh,
try and
good. So
finish
they
up
can
your
start
site.
working on it. Great.
Yeah,
Thank you.
so hopefully they'll have
Okay.
that done. In fact, I think they will. They'll probably have that done by the time we get there. So
Good. Super. Thank you so much.
we'll get you all fixed up.
And John, I had a question
Okay.
about the are you still doing the social cyborg group?
Yes, actually, I need to put another meeting together and get you guys all back together to get your feedback.
Yeah,
Got,
I
I've
got
got
my feedback.
I've got mixed feedback. I know you didn't particularly like it. I've got a couple of people that have said it's awesome, so I don't know. We'll have to reconvene and kind of go through. But
Okay.
I know the concept of it is awesome. Just wasn't sure about the deployment and all that.
Well, I tend to go deep, so
Yeah,
I
yeah,
may have
no.
gone deeper than some others and found the murk.
Well, I would love to hear about that for sure. So we'll set that up and go through it. And I also have a couple of other agentic softwares that could potentially do the same thing. So hopefully we'll find the right
Well, I
solution.
hope not the same,
No, no, it's not. It's different software developers.
because there's some things that just don't work.
Okay. And I'm not sure if I'll have to look at it. They might not work just because of the type of sub account that I had to create.
No, I think it had nothing to do with the sub account.
Oh, okay. So it's
Mm.
just the whole concept altogether.
We'll just keep me in the loop with the group.
Okay.
With
You got it. You got it. No, that's very valuable information for me because like I said, I don't want to release stuff until I know it's actually functional and good.
Yeah. Now I did a pretty thorough test. I used to do that when I in my previous jobs I was like the QC person. So
Oh, cool.
I would put stuff to a test.
All right. Well, I'm going to set that one aside for the time being until we until we go through it.
All right.
But I'll start up a couple of other ones. I've got a couple other ones that they're they're bots. They're basically what they call agent bots, where it passes down a conveyor belt, and maybe we can build what we need out of that for the social media stuff. Because I know social media is like that's a big thing on a lot of people's radar, and I would love to be able to solve that problem. So I was hoping that was it, but maybe not. Now, the other thing too, I know I've been teasing you guys and talking about this for a while, but the AI software, I actually got the first run through of the actual live software. We do not have the WordPress plugin developed out yet. And I am pushing the team very hard because we have a planned launch on this thing now. And we're going to be launching the week of Halloween. So
Yay.
that's coming up pretty soon. So let's see, what is that? We've got basically 1 week. We're going to start our beta pre-launch on the 27th. So I wanted to do it to get any beta users in, get the beta deals out of the way, and then we will do one more big deal for Black Friday. So I'm trying to get this thing like ready for Black Friday. So our pre-launch will be on the 27th and we'll start rolling out accounts for people on the 27th.
Is that the
But
AIO, John?
this one it's called Optimancer. So AIO Dominator, that's all done. That's like ready to go. I know I still have it in beta mode, but AIO Dominator it's like a suite of GPT tools, just like Quantum is, but it's all related to AI. And what you'll find in AI optimization, it is very, very close to SEO optimization. I mean, it's running side by side parallel. There are some critical differences though. Like in SEO, you could rank without schema, especially in non-competitive stuff. But in AI optimization, schema is the backbone. Schema is like if you don't have schema that is AI optimized, you're not going to do very well, if at all. So that's a key differentiation. It's like SEO, it was optional and it was good. AI, it's mandatory. So schema is critical. The other thing is the different file types. Like with SEO for search, you have a file that's called a robots text file. And it's not just for Google, it's for all robots. And basically, the rule of the game, and I don't know necessarily that everyone follows the rules, but the general rule of the game is if you are a bot, you are supposed to look for and detect the robot's txt file. You're supposed to read it first. It's kind of like a screen door before you enter the site. You're supposed to read it and abide by the rules. So that robots txt file, that's kind of like the guidelines for any bot. But like I said, not all bots abide by the rules. So especially Google, Google's notorious for not abiding by the rules. But in the difference between SEO and AI optimization is that robots txt file is irrelevant for AI. They have a thing called an LLM file, and that's a large language model file, and it's a text file just like the robots file. But the thing is, again, robots txt file for SEO is optional. If you don't have it, it's not going to stop your SEO. If you do have it, you'll get extra points for it. But with the AI, again, just like the schema being optional for SEO, it's mandatory for AI optimization. And so is the LLM file. Just like robots text file, optional, good, but LLM file, mandatory. So those are the two really big differences, and a lot of the other stuff is very much the same. The thing with SEO is, I go all the way back to the beginning in SEO before we even knew what to call it. And I created, like, my guidelines for SEO were created from the roadmap put out by Yahoo originally. Yahoo developed the rules of the game for optimization. Most people don't realize that. But Yahoo set the standards for how a website should be developed, like the structure, the functionality, the usability. That whole thing was set by Yahoo originally. And it was crazy to me that nobody looked at that. Nobody abided by that. That was the keys to the kingdom. All the engines after that followed that. Yet the SEO guys, all they were looking for was they were looking for like the quick hit. Like what can I do to get a quick bang for my buck and then it's going to explode next week and destroy my efforts. That was all they were interested in. The way I always taught SEO was look, if you do it right from the beginning, it's a little bit harder. It's going to take you a little bit longer, but you're going to be absolutely bulletproof. Because every time a search engine switches an algorithm for what they're looking at, if you've done it all right, it doesn't matter what they do, you're still going to rise to the top. And for me, I absolutely loved it because when every time the search engine would make a shift, for me, it was like they just took out the garbage. It was like every week the garbage man shows up, takes out the garbage, right? So the community doesn't stink. And that was what it was like for me and my clients. They would literally come through on a regular basis, sweep the trash out of our way, and all the gamers and the people that were scamming the system that were sometimes leaping ahead of us, they'd all get swept into the trash can and we'd go right back to the top again. And that was like my life for a couple of decades. All of my clients, they as they would go down, the community would stink because they had better content and they belonged at the top. And then the engines would come through, sweep out the garbage out of the way, and they'd go right back. So it was continuously a cat and mouse game though. But if you ask an SEO person, they'll tell you, oh, yeah, the game changes all the time and we've got to stay on top of it. Well, that's kind of bullshit. The only reason they had to do that was they weren't doing it right to begin with. They were cutting corners, they were doing, cheesy stuff to get a quick bang for the buck. And then when that exploded, they'd have to go back and charge their clients again to do it again. When if they would have just done it right in the first place, they wouldn't have had those issues. So, completely different mindset, the way I approached that business versus the way the SEO community approached that business. And I believe this is going to be very similar. This game with AI optimization, I think if you do it right the first time, if you spend the time, and it's not an easy thing, it's not a snap your fingers type of deal. But you're going to have to dig in, put in the work, and then you'll get the benefit. You'll reap the rewards, and they're long term. The rewards of having third party sites endorse you and send you customers. There's a huge benefit to that. Like my commercial clients, when I started into SEO, my commercial clients, we literally did over $100 million in sales long before most people were doing any kind of sales online. And it was because we had the traffic. We had volumes of traffic. And I got to tell you, it was way easier back then because there wasn't a million people trying to compete for it. And there wasn't a million people, trying to game the system. So it was a lot easier. Today, that doesn't exist. This is a different time that we live in. But as I see the opportunity to optimize for AI, it really takes me back to those times and I get a look back into my past and go, wow, we've rolled back the clock. There's another opportunity to do this again. Now, I'm not the same age as I was the first round, and I'm not near as ambitious to conquer the world as I was at that point. So I'm not like looking to spool up a big agency and take on a bunch of commercial clients and redo this. I've already lived that part of my life. But at this point, I'm in a different phase. I've got different access to different assets and things at my disposal, like software development, like AI, the power of AI to help people. And it's honestly at this point, I would rather help you guys, support you guys, that want to run those agencies. That I'm all on board with. As far as like going out and making sales and dealing with clients and supplying reports, I'm done. I'm not going back there. I am over it. But there's a lot of you that that's what you want to do, and that's what more the capacity of I'm here to help you do that. So you won't have me competing with you. You'll just have me supporting you. So anybody that is into that and wants that, um, we're on a good ride, and that's the software that we're putting out. AIO Dominator, like I said, it's kind of the manual route, but no one else is really putting this stuff out. I'm starting to see it though. Like Perry Belcher, he's diving headstrong into the whole AIO stuff, and he calls it AEO. And he's kind of jumped on board. There's been a handful of people that are trying to front run this. They're trying to spearhead it, and they're just like they did with SEO. SEO was not created out of like an industry. It was internet marketers that created the industry and called it SEO. That name didn't exist. I was doing it for years before we even knew what to call it. So here they're trying to create that same thing and create a name called AEO. And basically, what AEO stands for, and it's not intuitive. To me, AIO, everyone's going to know, oh, I know what that means. AEO, how many of you know what AEO means even? It's foolish, it's they're trying to put AI into the A part, and then they put engine. They're trying to recreate the search engine optimization. But no one calls AI an engine, right? So it's kind of idiotic to me. That doesn't mean I'm going to be right. That doesn't mean what I think is going to stick. I think the reality of it is they'll probably wind up getting AEO to stick, even though it doesn't make sense. So, and just like with WordPress, those of you that have been around me for a long time know that I was 100% anti WordPress for a long, long time. I would not allow my customers on it. I wouldn't build on it. I wouldn't touch it. It was just like a dirty word. And things changed, times changed, factors changed. Now, at this point, it would be foolish for me to fight that dragon because I can't win. The reason I was fighting the dragon before was because it literally put my clients in jeopardy. And there was a point in time when Google was the big Goliath. Google was the big dragon on the wall. And I realized that whatever people do in mass, Google's going to smack it. And there was so many people that were using WordPress to create blogs and optimize and game the system. I honestly thought there was a high, high, high probability that Google was just going to flag WordPress as being wiped out and just smack it off the face of the earth. So because of that high probability, it was not worth it to me to risk that with my clients. So I would not allow them to cross that bridge. I'm like, that is not safe water. Now, when Google made a major shift off of content. They shifted on, and then when they started shifting in about 2011, and they shift to actual user experience, at that point, I realized, okay, they're not going to wipe WordPress out. They found a better way. And at that point, I wasn't telling everybody, stay away from it like the plague. And then finally, a few years later, I actually adopted it. Now I won't build sites on anything but it. It is like the industry standard and it's safe. But until something's safe, I'm not going to put clients into it. It's not worth my reputation, and it's not worth the come to Jesus meeting. I do not like come to Jesus meetings. And that is exactly what I would get. Think about it. If I put a client on WordPress and Google decided WordPress is out and they wiped it off the map, I'm going to have a sit down with this client and explain to them why I put them on a platform that they just got their business taken right out from under them. Like for me, that's not going to happen. I'm going to avoid that at all costs. So there's always reasons behind everything in my decision making processes. Like right now, you'll see me not want to touch Go High Level. I don't think it's safe for multiple reasons. It was the same reason why I stayed out of Infusionsoft, and look at what happened to Infusionsoft. It almost doesn't exist at this point. So think about it. If I had built a whole world around that, and now look at where it's at, where would I be? I would have, my face is too large to carry that kind of mud on it. So it carries too much mud. So I want to be mud free. So Tim, go ahead.
What is your thoughts on like with hosting the cPanel versus like SiteGround's site tools?
Um, I don't really know much about SiteGround. I I have not had much good experience with it as far as clients. I've moved a lot of clients off of it
Yeah.
for things that they were running into that I couldn't explain. And I said, look, let me just move you to something I know how to use and it works. So
I
I,
just well, I thought at one point in time you said, try to avoid cPanel type situations. That's why I was wondering. If,
well, cPanel again, that's something that changed as the whole industry evolved.
yeah.
Like when I started hosting, I was actually using Cobalt servers
Oh yeah, yeah.
because Cobalt was the first ones that actually had a control panel that was usable for people like me and the people I was hosting for.
Mm,
And that was like the thing to have. And then cPanel came along and I made the shift because that was the higher ground. That was the safe ground. But then as WordPress comes on, WordPress and cPanel don't mix.
yeah.
And the problem with cPanel is cPanel, the core of it, they allowed people to create sub accounts, just like what Go High Level is doing, which is one of the biggest reasons I don't like them.
Yeah.
They're allowing people to create unlimited accounts on there. All of these sites run on servers. All of these sites require resources. All of those resources draw the server's power down and slows it down. One of the factors in SEO is speed.
Hmm.
If you have a slow site, it's going to affect your speed. Your speed's going to affect your rank. Rank's important. In my world, rank is important. So when I saw like what HostGator and all of those companies, those were hosting companies developed by internet marketers.
Hmm.
Usually, if an internet marketer is behind something, I'll be very, very leery of it because
Hmm.
they're not thinking with their business head. They're thinking with how much money they can strip out of as many people as possible.
Yeah.
And they'll set up a cPanel hosted server. They'll put 1,000 marketers on it, and they'll let each one of those marketers dump 100 WordPress sites on each one of their accounts. That will take that server to its knees, and they don't give a shit.
Well,
They
no,
really don't.
on the site tools, I have the limiting thing that limits me is they call it inodes, INODES, I guess,
Yeah.
and I can fit 15. If I have small sites, I can fit 15 on a server. So I like it. Once I hit 10 on a server, I move on and buy another server. I don't,
Yeah.
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 But
Well, it's
our site ground, I heard this early on, and I mean, I didn't start using it until gosh, I want to say before I got involved with you, because Cynthia Lays actually turned me on to it. And I'm like, I don't want to do that.
Mhm.
But they're actually the hosting company that's been doing WordPress hosting the longest.
Yeah.
I didn't find out that. So yeah.
Yeah,
And
there's been a lot of the company that was around. The first one around was called Vario.
yeah,
Vario, you know, predates almost everything except for NetSol, Network Solutions.
yeah.
And Vario actually hired me to teach people SEO that were going on their servers so they'd do it right and their servers wouldn't get attacked.
Mm,
They didn't want, scammers building stuff on their servers. They wanted people to know how to do it right. So I created training for them back in like the mid 90s.
well.
And that was pretty interesting. That was interesting times, when all this stuff was getting developed.
Well, the other thing in WordPress is, having different plugins. Like I have two competing plugins this morning that shut half of my sites down. And I had basically the plugin that I had to shut down was the speed optimizer from SiteGround that fixed it.
Yeah,
So basically the other it's the tools come in and they did updates on the same day and the updates conflict.
yeah.
It happens.
Oh yeah,
It's
definitely.
gonna happen in WordPress anyway.
It definitely happens. The only time, like on my servers, I run everything on Nexus. I run on Nexus servers,
Hmm.
and the reason being is they don't let you stack WordPress on there.
Hmm.
It's one account, one WordPress install. The other thing about it is they have optimized the WordPress servers for running WordPress.
Hmm.
WordPress is very, very resource intensive on the server, especially if the server is not configured for it.
Yeah.
cPanel servers are not configured for WordPress.
Yeah, I know that.
cPanel servers are configured to go middle of the road because they've got people that are going to be running PHP, they got people that are going to be running HTML, they got all these different types of platforms that they're going to have to deal with. So they just configure the server middle of the road. Middle of the road is not optimal for WordPress, especially when you start stacking hundreds of WordPress installs on that server.
Yeah.
So with the Nexus servers, also the Nexus servers have the built-in updates built right into them. I have never had an auto update from Nexus crack a site. Never.
No, mine's believe it or not, mine's it's the update from my builder,
Yeah.
Optimize Press. And Optimize Press came out with just like Beaver Builder, they came out with build your own theme.
Oh
And
yeah.
now, I mean, that's my conflict that I'm dealing with this morning that, they've had a set theme and you can build sites.
Yeah. The
Now they
only
have a theme builder, and which is the same thing that Beaver Builder does. And it just,
yeah.
yeah, it's just but it's one headache after another. You know what I mean? If you thought you got into business to think you were never going to have headaches again, you're wrong.
Yeah, the only time I've really had WordPress sites that crack is in updating of PHP.
Hmm.
Like a lot of times you'll log into your WordPress site and it'll give you a warning. It'll say your PHP is out of date. And I mean Jim does this a lot. He's got a lot of clients that he hosts and I manage the servers for him. So he'll say, "Hey, can you update the PHP on these four sites?" And I'll say, "Yeah, I can do that." But then I'll go in there and almost inevitably, at least one of the ones I'm updating, it'll crack the site because the plugins are not compatible with the new PHP. And it's cool because I can just roll it back. I can just roll it back and say, "Hey, that one's not compatible yet. Go in, update the plugins, and then I can do it."
Yeah, yeah, you know Bonnie Kitahara, right? I took
Yeah.
over her site. The PHP was so old it could not be updated. I had to rebuild the whole site because like I think her PHP was like 10 years old.
Yeah.
And you could not update with all the stuff you had, you couldn't update it. I had just had to throw the site out and start over.
Yeah, the biggest plugin that I've seen issues with as far as PHP is it's called Slider Revolution.
Oh yeah, I hate slider. I won't use it
And it's
anymore.
so
Yeah.
you can do these sliders. And I have hated freaking sliders on websites since day
I
one.
won't do them.
I cannot, like,
Jim Nod, do you do them?
Jim's got a few.
Yeah, I just built a site with really some beautiful sliders, actually with John's help.
Mm.
It really it's a very visual business, so before and after, and there's four different product categories. So just having in within 20 seconds or 25 seconds, people can visually see what who's it for, what does it do, what are the benefits in
Okay.
a visual fashion. So
Yeah,
um,
I had
I
it.
always listen to John. Well, and I try to infuse marketing wisdom in there as well for grabbing people's attention.
Yeah, there's always reasons for everything. Like there's reasons why you might want to use sliders, but
Mhm.
just as a general, like most web developers, they'll just automatically put a slider on the top. And they put like four, five, six things, and then they don't set the pacing right. So the thing is, like before you can even read it, it's sliding off. And that's just annoying for somebody that's on your site. And also for somebody that's on your site, the first slider might not be what they're there for, and they're not going to wait. They're not going to sit there and wait for a presentation to see if they're in the right spot. So it's detrimental to your outcome or your, your purpose. You want somebody to land on your site, know they're in the right spot immediately, and be able to navigate to what they need. Sliders are not good for that. Sliders are good for showing before and after, for stuff where you know you're in a slider and you're there for a reason and you're participating. That's great. But on a first-hand user experience, that's like meeting someone for the first time and they're in a costume and you don't know who they are, and then they duck down and put a new mask on and duck down and put a new mask on. What the fuck is this? That's what that's likened to. So I say no to header sliders just right out of the gate. And I won't argue with a client if they absolutely want it. I'll give them whatever they want. Like I always look at that as like, who am I to deprive a child of a lesson? You know, if there's a hot stove and they're going to put their hand on it, I'll tell them not to do it. But ultimately, I'm not going to grab their hand. I'm going to let them experience that lesson if they want to, because that's the only way they're going to learn, right? Some people have to learn the hard way. There's the easy way and there's the hard way. And I'm not opposed to letting somebody learn the hard way. I'm
Oh,
good
well,
with that.
and I feel I'm learning the hard way right now. But anyway, it's a whole nother game. I
Yeah. There's some people that just they've got to have it the hard way to learn fast. So I'm not going to get in their way.
well, mine is I've started to this week started to question. Okay, why did I get in the web business? I just could have bought another. I could have bought another apartment complex for the headache I'm going through.
I'm with you, Tim.
Yeah, I know. Maybe Jim,
And
that's what we should
just
do.
for a data point, four out of the last five sites John and I have built together, and John's team, are without sliders.
Hmm.
So, like John said, with a specific purpose and reason, it's not so bad.
Hmm.
Yeah, I mean, and anything that I ever do is always going to be in the best interest of who I'm doing it for.
And
It's
if you really want to get into real estate, I'm here available for you guys.
yeah, any of you that really want to make money, Amid and Linda is the, and Tim, you've got a real estate background too. You know, there.
Before we go into another, because I have to jump off.
Oh, okay, yeah, go
Okay,
To
ahead.
go
do,
ahead,
to
Armin.
do my training. I had my hand up for a while. I almost forgot what I was going to say. I'm loving all the conversation and agreeing because I've been doing websites since the 90s. And this wasn't what I originally raised my hand about, but I do want to comment on the fact that I have seen a lot of these website platforms that can't really sustain the number of marketers that they put on it. You can unlimited sites or whatever. And I've seen that where, unfortunately, because I work with a lot of solopreneurs, that I've had to like quickly then take all of the sites I did on that platform and then recreate them on another. And it's a nightmare when they do that kind of thing. And I think I'm going through another thing right now. But anyway, what I raised my hand for is we had started originally talking about go high level and some bad mouth, and I'm not a go high level lover at all either. And I'm more so hating it now because I have a customer who I only needed 3 DNS records. That's all I needed for her website to work. And her website has worked for a year, no problem. All of a sudden, she contacts me, her website is down. So, first thing I do is I go in and I look at her DNS. And I see that where there was only like 1 page of DNS records, now there's like 4 pages, all of these DNS records. And so before I even went into it, I asked her, I said, have you allowed anybody to change your DNS records? And they're, of course, no, no, no.
Yeah.
So I get in there and I say, who is Mailgun? And then that's when she confesses, oh, it's go high level and blah, 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 blah. And I said, well, they're using the www that I need for your website to work. So I said, so I can't do anything. I'm not going to do to them what they did to me, which was just, wipe out my www. Go back to them. I gave her the instructions. Go back to them. Make sure I can delete that. So she goes back and she comes back to me and she says, yeah, I can delete it. So I deleted that www record. Then it still says there's another conflicting. I told her, I said, you know what? You go back to your go high level person and here's the records I need. You get them to put them records in and I'm done. Because I said it was working before you started working with that damn go high level. So
Yeah, well, the way Go High Level manages the DNS records is absolutely asinine.
they take over. They way too many records.
Yeah, yeah, because
So
I know I was dealing with somebody, and I think it was for Linda. She was doing something with Go High Level, and her guy he was asking for all this weird shit, and I was asking like, why? What are you doing? It clearly you don't know what you're doing. And then I realized that's the way they're doing it, although it makes no sense whatsoever. And
yeah.
he didn't realize how what he was asking for was going to affect other things.
Yeah.
And I'm like,
I just
whoa,
want to
whoa,
add
whoa,
that for
no.
anybody who didn't know.
Yeah. So I had to put the brakes on that and explain to everyone involved, here's the way that you would do this if you want to do this without, destroying the apple cart. And they just don't get it. They don't have a foundational understanding of DNS and how it all works. And so
All
it's
right, gotta go.
crazy. All
I'll
right.
see you
Thanks,
soon,
Arby. That was good
Valerie.
information.
I know I got to go too, but a quick question, John.
Yeah, Valerie, go ahead.
I'm the affiliate queen right now. So what I wanted to do, I had mentioned in the email to you about making my own affiliate short link. So you told me to go to my own opt-in first. So is that in Kartra?
So if you have Kartra or whatever you have to create like an opt-in form, I love Kartra myself. If I had
Okay,
a
yeah.
Kartra, I would do it in Kartra.
Okay, yeah.
Basically, you create a landing page.
Okay,
It can be a Kartra landing page or it could be a page on your website. It
okay,
doesn't matter. It just needs to be a place where you have a URL you can send someone that they can opt in.
okay,
Like if you have a WordPress site, you can put a button on there for a Kartra opt-in box.
okay,
If you want to build a page in Kartra, like I said, it doesn't matter. The
okay,
point is you have a place to send people for them to opt into an offer.
okay,
Now that page is very important for a couple of reasons. You have to have a big idea on that page or it's not going to work.
Okay.
The big idea pulls them into the call to action. It makes them want to click.
Okay.
Nobody wants to click. Nobody is just going to want to give you their name and email
I'm using
address.
you as my big idea. I'm quoting you. I'm saying, have you ever had a multimillionaire tell you they don't need any more money? They want to help you. I'm serious. That's my big
Yeah,
idea. And it's worked. But
yeah.
people have been complaining that the video is too long and they lose interest. That's why I still wanted to use you as my lead
Okay.
magnet, but
Yeah,
just make it shorter. So, and so it sounds like me, really.
absolutely. So what you do is you have them opt in on your page,
Okay.
and then they go to your thank you page.
Okay.
Now, your thank you page, you can have a video and you can sell whatever the affiliate offer is and the way you want to present it, the way
Okay.
you want to sell it. And then when you get to the point of the call to action to make the purchase, you don't have to send them into someone else's funnel. You
Right.
can literally just put the buy now button right there.
Like that's what I want.
Yeah.
Okay.
So
Okay.
in Kartra, in the affiliate program, you'll notice that I have different options.
Yes.
So I have different options to like go to a landing page, use this big idea if you don't have one. But there's generally always just a purchase link
Yeah.
that you can attach to a button.
Yeah. That's what I want.
That's what it's for. That's why it's
Yeah.
in there.
Yeah, you're the king. I mean,
So
when I heard you say that, you don't need it, you're a multimillionaire and you don't need more money. I said, that's a big idea. I mean, you just want to help
yeah,
us. That's a big thing.
yeah, yeah. I mean,
I
that's
gotta go to Arba's class.
oh, okay,
All
cool.
right. Thank you, John.
All right, you got it. So anything else? What else you guys want to cover? As you can see, I'm up for anything. Anything in particular? Okay, so
John, do you want to go into a little more detail about the plugin, the AIO?
yeah, yeah, absolutely. That's actually where I was going to go if nobody had anything else.
Yeah, I second that.
We got sidetracked. So the plugin for the AI, well, for the Optimancer, like I started to go into this. AIO Dominator is a suite of GPT tools to actually do the work for you. Like if you want to create Q&As, Q&A is the third biggest piece to AI optimization. Number one is the schema. Number two is the LLM file. Those two really are crucial. It doesn't matter, one doesn't trump the other. Without both of them, you're not playing the game. So, whatever way you want to plug those in, first or second, it doesn't matter. But those two are critical. After that, you move into content, which AI looks to answer questions. That's its whole purpose in life. So if your content leads with answers, you're going to win. That's why having short Q&As on every page is going to make you look very attractive. So with our plugin from Optimancer, now I'm going to jump ship. I'm going to jump from the AIO Dominator program over to Optimancer. Optimancer is built for agencies. It's not built for consumers. It's built for agencies. It's built for people that want to provide SEO or AIO services. In by providing, here's a really big benefit to this. By providing AI optimization services, you're unknowingly providing SEO services because they're literally one and the same, just little variances. But anyway, so Optimancer, like I said, it's built for agencies, it's built for people that want to provide service, and it leads with a report. The very first piece of the puzzle is you plug in a URL or a domain, and what it does, it scans every page of that domain, and it gives you a big ass report. I mean, it is jumbo. It's in some cases maybe 100 pages long. And the goal of it is for you to use it as a prospecting tool. So basically, you have a prospect, you say, hey, let me run your site and give you an outline of what you would need to do to optimize it for AI. If you want AI traffic, this is going to be the blueprint. I'll give it to you for free. So you plug in their domain, you run the report. The reports are beautiful. The reports are absolutely beautiful. They're branded, they've got your name, your logo on them for the client. It's really, really cool. Now you give it to them and you can point out, it actually points out what's most important. And it actually tells how to do this stuff, how to do a lot of it. And you just tell the person, you say, hey, here's the playing field. Here's how to play the game. I would recommend that you pass this over to your web developer and have him implement this for you. Now, most people are going to say, well, I don't have a web developer. Could you just do it for me? And now you've got a customer. Just like that. If you got 5 people that have web developers and only one doesn't, it's okay. It's a numbers game. It's just purely a numbers game, as all sales are. But this takes all the work out of it for you. You're literally just dropping in their URL and handing them this report and saying, you're recommending, I recommend you do this. Take it to your team, have them do it for you. I'm just here to help. And if 4 of them do just that, great. One of them is going to give you a job. And that's all you need. That's all you're here for. You're prospecting. It's not 100%. You're not going to get it. You're not going to close 100% of deals. But the one you close here is going to be solid. And it's going to be easy peasy because they're looking to you. You're the one that provided the information. And I think it's going to be a lot more like 4 out of 5 are going to ask you to do it, not 1 out of 5. I think it's going to be more like 4 out of 5. So the plugin, of all the stuff, this thing is going to give you a report of everything, not only AI related, but also SEO related. It's the ultimate optimization report for any domain. The plugin, for at least for out of the gate, the only thing our plugin is going to do is the first 3. It's going to create the LLM file and install it. It's going to create the schema for each page and install it. And it's going to create an FAQ for every page and install it into that WordPress site. Now, if you don't have a WordPress site, it will give you the information of what to do. Like, let's say you have a Wix site or, you've got a Shopify site. It's the same thing. If you've got a team that develops those sites for you, you're now just giving this report to your team and saying, hey, here's your next job. Here's your next project. Client pays you, you pay the team, you take the money in the middle. I wouldn't encourage any of you guys to turn wrenches in this. You want to own the mechanic shop. You don't want to be the mechanic. Like in SEO, I never turned the wrenches. I never did the busy work. I always outsourced that to team. I would figure out what needed to be done. I would do enough wrench turning just to figure out which wrenches needed to be turned, and then that immediately got passed on. So this is the same thing. You might want to get real picky. This is a tool that will allow you to get really picky in who you want to take on. Maybe you generate 10 reports, you send it out to 10 people, and maybe half of them have Shopify sites. You just say, well, we're not taking on Shopify clients right now, but here's the blueprint. Have your team do it. On your way. The 5 WordPress owners, probably 4 out of 5 of them are going to become your customers, and they're going to go into your pattern flow. What will eat you alive is if you start taking on stuff you don't specialize in. You start getting not greedy, you get desperate. Desperation will eat you alive in business because it will make you take on the wrong customers every time. And that will be the death of you. You've got to figure out what you want to offer and only offer that. The only time you want to go outside of that is when you have, let's say you've created a community, like I've got, you guys are all my community. If you all come on here and you tell me you want something and it's easy for me to provide, I'm going to provide it for you. But if just one of you says, hey, I want this oddball thing, I'm going to say, well, yeah, that's cool. I'll consult you, but go find somebody to do it. I'm not going to disrupt my life for a one off deal. And, I'll still like you, but I'm just not going to let you disrupt my life over it. And if you decide you don't like me because I wasn't willing to disrupt my life over it, that's okay too. So you got to do business not out of desperation, but out of what makes sense to your freedom. Because that's what you're in business for. You're in business for freedom. You're here for one reason and one reason only. I don't care what's on the other side of the freedom, if it's security, if it's significance, whatever it is. It's about the freedom. It's about you being able to do what you want to do and not bow down to anyone. That's why you're in business. So keep on that plane. Don't allow people to disrupt you. Figure out what you want to do, what you can provide easily and swiftly and scalably, and provide it. The other side of that coin is what you can provide that might be a little bit of work but make you an absolute shitload of money. And then you're on to do what you want to do. So that scenario also works. And a lot of times that is where the real estate market comes in. I don't think anybody really wants to sell houses, but they want to make the shitload of money when the house sells. So in that case, that is a situation. Like I said, there's a time and a place for everything. There's a right thing for all situations. And that's what I did in the commercial world. I wasn't a photographer because I liked photography. I was a photographer because people were willing to pay me $3,500 a day in the 80s. So for $3,500 a day, you can hang me outside of a helicopter upside down and I'll do whatever you want. And I did that. So whatever they wanted, I would do for that price. And what it allowed me to do is it allowed me to work a few days a month and then go fish and be me and do what I wanted to do. So that's a different perspective. But you've got to look at, what do you want? Do you want an easy life where things just flow and it's scalable and you make a lot of money? I shifted gears over the years. At the first point, I wanted big customers, I wanted big money. I didn't want to work hard, I didn't want to work long. So I had to find something that was very valuable. Special effects was what I fell into. Special effects photography. Very few people knew how to do it, and the people that needed it would pay a lot for it. So that was where I found my groove. And I loved it. I would still be doing it today if it weren't for Photoshop. Photoshop was the disruptor. That was the thing that came in and executed that industry. And for me, I'm thankful at this point. Looking back, I'm like, wow, it's the best thing that ever happened to me. But I gotta tell you, I wasn't thinking that at the time. I was I was thinking, oh shit, here comes a very bad enemy coming my way and it's gonna hurt me. And luckily I just figured out how to leverage it, how to use its momentum to build a better life. So, but that's what you got to do. I mean, you got to figure out what is right for you, what is going to make you happy. And like I said, that shift, there was a very wise old guy that he had made a lot of money in his life. And he actually owned the TRW building outside of LAX. This guy had, like more money than God. And I knew him because a friend of mine worked for him and we became friends. And I actually wound up running his boat, when I was in my 20s. And at the time, it was the biggest, most beautiful, badass sport fishing boat I'd ever seen. So for me to be able to run that thing was like a dream. And I would go run that for him. And I caught that guy so much fish that he fired his other captain and just wouldn't even use him anymore. So it was really cool. But the thing that that dude told me that really kind of changed my whole outlook on everything was I came over to him one day and I was really excited because I got a big commercial account. Like one that the size that I wouldn't need any other customers. And I was charged up about it and I'm bragging to him and he's like he really kind of looked at me and he shot it down. He goes, "Yeah." He goes, "Well, that's great, but you should be careful with that." He goes, "That's putting all your eggs in one basket." And he really gave me some of the best advice I'd ever gotten, toward this. And he said, "You need to think of these opportunities in business as appendages, whether it's an opportunity or a business or a customer." He goes, "You need to think of them as appendages." And I'm like, "What in the hell are you talking about?" And he's like, "Appendages, like arms, hands, fingers." He goes, "Think of them as that." I still didn't know what he was talking about. So I asked him, I said, "Well, can you explain the meaning of this?" And he said, "Yeah." He goes, "Think of it, if you have 10 customers, that's like you have 10 fingers. If you lose one, it's going to hurt like a bitch." He said, "But ultimately, tomorrow morning, you're going to wake up and your life isn't going to be that different. If you lose a finger, you're going to be fine. It's going to hurt a little bit, but it's not going to change your life." He says, "Now you have two arms." He says, "If you lose one of those, you're going to wake up in the morning and your life's never going to be the same." He said, "You have one head. If you lose that, the game's over." And all of a sudden, I'm like, oh shit, I don't want one income source. I don't want to be in the position if I lose my head, I'm done. He said, "You should think of these as wanting them as hairs on your head." He said, "You want so many income sources. If you lose one, you won't even feel it. So you'll never even notice." And I'm like, holy shit, he was right. So that's why today I'm not out for seeing how much money I can get out of any one person. I'm out to see how many people I can provide massive value that'll give me just enough to where it won't bother them. And if they stop, it won't bother me either. So, and that's where software comes in. That's where AI comes in. It's scalable. Like, does it matter how many quantum accounts I sell? It does not. There's no more work on my part. If I bring 1,000 people into quantum tomorrow, I'm just going to make 1,000 times more money. It's going to take me zero effort, zero resources. It'll take me a little bit of cost because I've got a cost per seat involved. But that's what you should be looking at. How can you provide massive value without giving away a piece of yourself in the process? Keep all of you for you, but provide scalable value. And software there's nothing better. I mean, if you look at most of the billionaires today, they're software. They're software related. That is the most scalable thing on the planet. And AI is just a massive opportunity because not only because it's scalable and it's easy to provide, but because of the volume, the massive volume of consumers that want it and don't know how to get it. It's like in web development. When I started developing websites, it was like you were a magician. Nobody knew how to do it. They all wanted it. They didn't know how to do it. You show up and you're like a magic man. You're like a magician. Everyone's mesmerized by you. You provide a great service, a great value, and you just stack customers. The only difference is now I can do it without any effort because the AI does all the effort. So it's like this this Cinderella story just keeps getting better for me. So, and all I'm trying to do is share my path so maybe I can shortcut you to not go through the learning curves and all the evolution I've gone through. I can just plunk you right down to the end game right now. And I'm happy to do it. So, Daryl, go ahead.
Hey John, how you doing, buddy?
All right.
Did you have a good boat tour? So,
Yeah, I was actually calling on the other Daryl, but I don't know if he
oh,
knows how to unmute. But
I
hey,
just asked one question, John.
happy to talk to you too.
You mentioned hosting,
Yeah.
and I put a question in there, and somebody said you have your own hosting.
Yes.
Okay, which hosting is that?
So I have hosting under my own company name. I use on the back end, I lease Nexus servers. So
Okay,
those are the servers that I lease, but I lease them and then I just run my own company off of it.
okay. So I think Connie posted this in there. So
So if any of you want to do that, I mean, a hosting business it's not for the faint of heart. If you don't know much about hosting and all the back end of everything that you need to know, it's probably something where you just want to be a reseller of somebody that's running that for you.
yeah, that's what I was thinking. Is like you're talking about building up a stash of these clients and just putting them on some kind of like reseller. Um, the host nexus thing on that or whatnot.
Yeah.
Is
Yeah.
that is that what you're saying? Is just use one of these?
Yeah, if you're interested in that, we can set up and I can show you how to do it
Yeah, I'd totally be interested in doing that.
because
Make sure it's like under your affiliate and everything.
you're tech savvy enough that you'd be able to pull that off. So
Yeah. I will share something real quick of the group. So I went to, it's just kind of thought for anybody that's here. I know everybody's out there looking for clients and stuff like that. So I went to the Annapolis Boat Show. I live in Annapolis, and it was a sailboat show. And I wasn't even trying to advertise or anything, John. It's kind of funny. Is I was there on behalf of one of my veterans groups I work with is doing we do sailing. So we take guys out sailing, we go sailing. I love to sail myself. And this guy came by and he was just asking questions about the boat that was there and I asked him like where he was from and he said Seattle and I asked him what he was doing there, and he was like, "Oh, I sell like Hobie cats." I was like, "Cool. Do you have a website?" He's like, "Yeah." And I actually, yeah, I am interested in buying a Hobie cat, not a trawler like you got, John. More of like a one you can just sit out in the Caribbean and drink cocktails out of the back. So, um, so basically, the reason I brought this up to everybody was I said to the guy, "It's cool. What is your website address?" He pulls it up in my phone, and I'm looking at it, and I just scrolled through it, and it was just all jacked up, and you could tell. And I was like, wow, I was like, so this is your site, huh? And he's selling, $1 million sailboats, and the site's all jacked up.
yeah.
And he was like, yeah, we have we can't even find our web person, and we're supposed to get this updated. I was like, so let me understand this right. You're selling this boat. You're at this show. It's selling Hobie cats, or not Hobie cats, but catamarans. And he's like, yeah. And I was like, do you need help with that? He's like, yeah. And I was like, okay, well, you came to the right guy. It's just like, he actually, so I text him real quick. So he has my information and he texted me on Monday and he had told me he was looking at like HubSpot or whatever it is. And I'm not a big go high level person for ranking and all that kind of stuff. But I can tell you, like people, when you compare HubSpot to Go High Level, it just seems that Go High Level is a lot less inexpensive. I'm not saying you put somebody's website for ranking reasons and AIO and all that stuff but I want to use WordPress like that, like you're saying. But as far as like combining the two, I think would be really good though. For the functionalities with doing like the AI voice stuff, the texting services, all that kind of stuff, is a lot better. And I'm not saying you even I use Assistable for their SMS and text services and stuff. But I guess where I'm going with this is like everybody needs help out there. You know, you just it's no short of just turn around, look around. You showed us a tool, I think it was a few weeks ago. I saved that to my computer so I could literally just, I think it's, I don't know how much a month or something like $100, and you produce as many websites as you want or something like just the frames. It was the thing Perry showed you.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
yeah, and
Again, I would be very leery of anything where you pay one price and you can build as many websites as you want. If it's build the sites, that's one thing. If it's
no, it was just a design.
oh, okay,
Yeah,
yeah.
it was just a design thing you showed us. So like
Oh,
for
gotcha.
example, for this guy, I could
Yeah.
literally turn around and drop his URL in and say, "Hey, create me three variations of just the homepage on this," and then send it to him.
Oh, yeah, yeah, yeah. That was brilliant. The way he came up with that.
Yeah.
Did you get a copy of his email that he sent out with
I
that?
don't think I did.
I
So
did. If you want it, I've got it. I've
yeah,
shot
please.
a screenshot of it,
Yeah, please send it out.
and
So
it's short, sweet. It was a really a brilliant
I'll
campaign.
look at my notes, John, but it's somebody Alice asked for that tool. I think that's really smart. Um,
Was that tool Replit?
I th no, I don't think it was Replit, but I'm familiar with Replit.
Yeah, I can't remember what the name of the tool was that he used, but it
I'm gonna look
was
at my notes.
Jen
yeah,
Spark.
that's right.
Shinpar. Yeah, that's right. He got it.
Yeah,
Thank you, sir.
GenSpark. So yeah, that's a really cool way um, to acquire customers. You know, show them what you can do because this is something like I talked to the pool industry about this, and I was using an example of AI. You know, they're like, well, what would we use AI for in the pool business? I said, well, you guys design pools, right? You sit in people's living rooms and talk about what the pool might look like, but most people can't vision that.
Nope.
I said, so with AI, you walk out in their backyard, you snap a photo, you upload the photo, and you say, put a pool with, you know, three levels and an infinity and a bubbling jacuzzi and a waterfall. And then in 30 seconds, you're showing them what their backyard is going to look like. And if you're doing that and your competitor's sitting there talking about it, not showing them anything, who do you think is going to get the job?
100%. I think doing like a three variation one where it's like, hey, here's just
Yeah,
like old school sales, like here's the low end, middle end, high end.
yeah,
Which pool do
yeah.
you want?
I
You know,
mean, you basically take their words and drop it into that picture and show it to them.
yep,
It's just like the website. You could say, hey, if there was three things that you could do to your website, what would it be? And as they're telling you that, you're typing it in, and then in 30 seconds, you say, oh, something like this? And you're like a magician.
yeah,
Who do you think they're going to want to work with? You know, you're
yep.
going to have a customer for life. And
Yeah,
AI is right here, the tool to do that.
and I
So,
think just going back to my the reason I brought that up in the first place was I had about four people I talked to that day, not just one.
yeah,
There's four different people that came up to me and they just asked me what I was doing. I just said AI marketing services. And they're like, oh, what is that? And I was like, well, do you have a website? They're like, yeah. And I asked them a few questions about what just, about it or whatever. And they were like, oh, wow. Like, yeah, I need help with all those things. I was like, and they're like asking me for my information and want to set up calls with me at that point. And it's just like,
yeah, yeah.
and
It's
you're,
not
you're,
that difficult.
no, you're talking with a if you're here's one other thing too. I'm at a sailboat place where you have to pay to actually go in. It's not even that much. I think it's like $20 or something like that to go into the thing. But if people have flown from around the country to go to something like that and show up and pay to be there, those people are serious about looking for sailboats. But the thing is, the vendors that are at those events are the ones that also need help. So even as you walk around and talk to the vendors, ask them about like in a conversation, like what they're doing and how they're doing it, and you're looking at it, it's like, hey, have you guys incorporated AI into what you're doing? I had another guy, he was actually selling, yeah, yachts as well, three-level yachts. And he like asked me for my information, like old school, like, hey, name an email or whatever, did a little contact card exchange. He's like, hey, I'll get back to you by Tuesday. He's selling like $1 million boats.
Yeah,
And and I said to him, I was like, hey, are you looking for a way to actually implement all that stuff so it automates it using AI? And he was like, that would be amazing. He was like, can I talk to you about that? And I'm like, yeah. I was like, This is a guy that's selling multi-million-dollar yachts, and he's doing
Yeah.
just, so I guess I want to share the group here is like, you know, don't overthink this stuff, and just get out there and talk to people. Make a big mess, come back and ask John for advice.
Yeah.
All
Stir
right.
the pot.
So the pot, yeah. All right, so I'll be quiet now. I'm listening the whole time. So
All right, cool. If you guys want to see the actual report that Optimizer generates, I've got one. I've got a test one up I could show you. But let me go to Daryl, the other Daryl first and see. Go ahead, Daryl.
Well, thank you. And we'll go to Larry after me. Some people will understand that. I'm not normally in meetings where there's more than one Daryl, so
Yeah.
I didn't unmute myself and it just got confusing. Anyway,
Well, you have different spellings, so that's
we do. Well, at least I know how to spell Daryl.
it's funny. I've got like 5 Daryls in the group.
I understand that, and they're all spelled differently.
They are.
I
It's
found
funny.
out when, after being like 50 years old, that my birth certificate, my first name is spelled different than how I've always spelled it.
Oh, wow. That's
Because on my
interesting.
birth certificate, it only has one L.
Huh.
So it's never been an issue, but oh well. A couple of quick things. On the new AIO package, or what do we call it? The newest one you're coming out with.
Yeah,
What kind of a
Optimizer.
monthly fee do you think we should charge on that for a small business to continue to use that plugin?
Um, I would say I would say probably like on the minimum side, maybe 97 a month.
Okay.
That would
Okay.
be, I like there's almost nothing in the SEO world that you're going to give to a client for $97 a month that's going to be of any value.
Right.
Here you've got massive value for a low amount. And the reason I say 97 is it's back to that whole thing of hairs on your head. If you offer this service for 97 bucks, you could potentially get hundreds of people giving you $97 a month.
Right.
And it's so low, they're not going to feel it. They're going to see benefit from it and they're going to just be long-term customers.
So,
If you get greedy and you say, "Oh, well, it's 500 a month." 500 a month, that's going to kind of sting them in the side every time they see that on their credit card bill.
mhm.
And if they're not actively getting customers, which here's the reality of this game. Most people's websites don't make money.
Right.
They just don't. They're not set up for it. I don't know why. I couldn't for the life of me answer the question of why. It's like, why else would you want a website other than to generate business? But most people's websites, if you look at their sites, there's no call to action.
Right.
There's no offer. It's like, how do you expect this thing to make money?
Yeah. It's like an
Like,
online business card, basically.
yeah, yeah. So if you make it less, they won't have the problem paying for it long term. If you make it a lot and they realize, hey, I'm not making any money, but a lot's going out, they're going to be a short-term customer and you're going to have less of them. So you're going to feel the loss of that appendage more.
Right. I
So
agree.
that's why I say, even less. I mean, even if you wanted to do it for 47 a month. But I would venture to say that 97 for that type of service is value. It's ample value to
Right.
keep them long term.
Okay. That was point one. Secondly, just kind of a side comment. The last time you were in the meetings here before you took a week off and went about your business, you had mentioned about using AI to build websites and send it to somebody as, hey, here's the sample of what your page could look like.
Uh-huh.
I've never ran across that until you said that. You jinx, you. I had one client that I get copies of every email that come to him through the
Uh-huh.
contact form.
Yeah.
And that one client, heating and air conditioning company, in a week got 2 websites samples saying, "Hey, this could be you," blah blah blah.
Oh yeah.
So, would you leave my clients alone, John?
You could probably thank Perry for that.
Could be. I have no idea.
The only person I've told about that is you guys, and I'm not
Yep.
doing it. So,
Okay, who's on here that's trying to target my clients? Okay, now on the serious side, I know a lady out in Rhode Island. Kind of drives me crazy. I kid you not. For every word I say, she says 100,
yeah.
and it's all over the place. So I'm kind of imitating her a little bit there. She is getting emails from unknown places, people, companies, claiming that she has technical issues with her website. And these things,
Hmm.
whatever it is, need to be fixed.
I get about 5 of those a day.
Now, is there a tool that could actually legitimately analyze her website? And she's a web designer. She has been since like 1990.
Yeah, I'm about to show it to you.
Great. Thank you. And that's the last of my questions.
All right, so let me show you what Optimancer does and the report it generates. And this is something that you could literally generate this report and send it to a customer.
It'll point out technical issues.
Yes. So this
Wow.
one was prepared for barksdale.com, and there's the reseller. And this is just like the generic landing page. And then here's the
Nice.
table of contents. And then it's got the executive overview. And then you've got a performance summary.
Mm-hmm.
And this is basically telling you how it scores. Like for AIO, if they've got a 35% overall, they're good. The 10 is warning items. 35 is critical issues. So this is basically their scoring across their site. So 35% of their site was good. They had 35 critical issues and 10 warnings.
Hmm.
So and then it goes into what needs action immediately. So this is going into the 35 critical deficiencies. And then it shows them and you can click on this stuff and it will open up and show them exactly what's going on. Here's the technical infrastructure, gives
Wow.
them the score, what fails, what's a warning, what passed. Okay, so then we go into content and AI readability. The conversation content score. Now they're not even going to know what the hell that means, but they know they
Right.
failed. So they'll be able to click and open that up and get how to fix it. So then CSS, most people don't know how to optimize their CSS. Here's AI enhancements, which most people are going to completely fail on all this stuff.
Hmm.
And this stuff is beyond the big three. The big three is the critical stuff, but this is just going into this is going and taking them into the weeds.
You know, John, the problem with these reports is there's no way you're going to fix all that. I mean, I could go to Apple's website and find all those errors too.
That's correct. Nor do you want to offer to fix it all. You want to say, hey, I've got this standard package that's $500 or $900, and here's what we cover. And then you say, for 2,500, we'll cover these. And you can say, if you want us to cover the whole thing, that's $100,000. And most people will say, I'll take the middle package. And hey, if you've got somebody that would pay you 100 grand to go and fix all this shit, you just hire somebody and cut them loose.
And Daryl, I've had clients do that too. Oh, I got these emails. I go, well, an email from a rookie that just learned about SEO
Yeah.
is trying to get people. I tell them I can go to Apple's website and find a bunch of errors too, but they don't seem to have any problems. Your
Thank
website
you.
is fine. Your website's fine.
You can give them the old John Limbacher thing and just say, well, I went to your website and your website doesn't seem to be optimized.
So here's
Sorry, John, I had to make that funny.
here's one of those deals where you click on it and it gives you the intermediate analysis. This is going deeper into like what they would give to their development team. So the overall website optimization for AI. Top 3 most important actions. If you do nothing else, do these 3 things. They will make the biggest difference. So this is basically what you want to tell them. Hey, go have your team fix these 3 things. Download your LLM file. Here's the instructions. Website schema, manage your page schema. Tells you how to do it. Here's the FAQ for conversational language. Manage your FAQ pages. So these buttons are going to correlate directly with our WordPress plugin. And then it just, it goes on to the technical infrastructure. So again, you can open up all of this stuff and it'll give you the instructions on how to fix it. And then we've got the why do I need this, the Q&A. How can I implement this fix? How do I know if it's working? And then there's the one for the robots TXT. If you want to do SEO for them or you want to recommend that they do that, say, hey, have your guys go into the robots TXT and fix that too while they're at it. You could literally create a menu out of all this shit with here's how much it costs on a per piecemeal. Tell us what you'd like our team to fix for you. Or you can put packages together. But like Brad said, I mean, you don't want to go in and fix all this stuff, nor do you need to. You probably, by doing maybe a half a dozen of these things, you're going to have their site outranking their competition. So you don't need to, like I always used to tell people when I was teaching them how to do SEO and they'd get all anal about everything. You don't have to do everything. I said, when the elephant drops dead, you stop shooting him, right? You don't need to keep loading bullets into the dead elephant. Kill the elephant and move on. Do what you have to do to get them to the top and get them traffic. So there's no way in hell that anyone is going to have to do all of this. But this is a very, very impressive report to be able to deliver. If this doesn't produce an authority figure out of you just by giving them this, I don't know what will. This report alone will position you as a top expert in this field, above and beyond people that probably know 10 times more than you do about this. They're not going to trust them because they didn't give them this report. You did. So, I mean, this goes into everything. Security, how to do the SSL enabled, the TLS versions. All the stuff you guys probably didn't, maybe you didn't even know about some of this stuff. This is all the different components of SEO that most people aren't even aware of. And like again, back to what Brad said, you don't have to do all of this. This positions you as an authority. And then you decide, this goes back to what I was saying earlier. Don't do stuff that's outside of your flow. Like there's stuff on here, you just say, yeah, we don't do that. Like for me, if you come to me and you want SEO, great. If you wanted PPC, you wanted pay per click, I just said, hey, I don't do that. I can tell you about it. I can advise you. I can talk to you on a 30,000-foot level, but I don't do that service. I don't offer it. It's outside my scope of work. So there's definitely not a problem with that. And then, you've got the summary report and they can download it as a PDF. And you can put a call to action in here. So does
Well,
that
that's a lot to say the least.
does that kind of blow your mind as far as what
Yes.
you could give them to position yourself? And all you're doing is dropping the URL in to generate that report. And then when we get the WordPress plugin, literally, you'll be able to create a package. Hey, we have a package that will create your LLM file. It'll generate your schema and it will create an FAQ for every page of your site, and we'll keep monitoring it and keep it updated for X amount per month. And you will probably find that to be the easiest sale you're ever going to make in this industry. And if they, since you control the plugin actually is controlled at our central server. So you can turn it on and turn it off. Let's say you've got a customer that becomes a pain in your ass and they don't want to pay you anymore. You can go in and you can deactivate their plugin, which removes all the stuff that you did for them. With SEO, there was no way to do that. You couldn't go in and remove their SEO. But here you can go in and turn that plugin off. And when that plugin goes off, all of a sudden that LLM file disappears. The FAQs disappear and the schema code disappears off their site. And guess what's going to happen to their ranking literally that minute?
John, can you do that on and off thing remotely?
Yes.
Okay.
You do not have to have access to their WordPress site
Yes.
to be able to turn that active off and on. In your control panel, you'll be able to toggle their account off and on. So that's a pretty big leverage piece for getting somebody to continue to pay you and keep them uh, not being a pain in your ass. And I haven't done this for years, but in the beginning, when I had customers, I always had Barb did my billing, and she's like not very thick-skinned. Like if she calls you, like let's say you were a hosting customer and your credit card doesn't go through and she sends you an email and you don't respond to it. She's going to take offense to that. And then she calls you, leaves you a message, you don't call her back. That just drives her nuts, right? She's much better at it now, but back, 25 years ago, uh, she just wasn't very good at handling that. And so I gave her a button and I said, hey, if they don't call you back, just click this button. Their, their site will go inactive and it will swap out their site and put a temporary page up that says, this account is temporarily unavailable. Call customer service, and it puts her phone number. They would literally be calling her in minutes. They'd be calling her with a fresh credit card. And she was like, that made her very happy because she was able to get her results and do her job. And because for her, she was like, if she didn't get that rectified, she thought I was going to be upset with her or whatever. So she wanted to just do her job well. So if people couldn't communicate with her, she didn't have the ability to do her job well. So by giving her that button, that made her life much happier because they would call instantly. So it's the same thing here. If you deactivate that plugin and all of a sudden their rank goes down the toilet, they're probably going to call you back and become a lot nicer. They'll become a lot nicer about it. She also had people that were upset because their credit card wasn't good and she was telling them about it. And they would give her attitude. And she didn't really like that. But almost every time, like let's say they gave her attitude and they said, yeah, I'm going to have to get a card and call you back. And then they ignored her. And if she did get through to them, they were hostile. Well, I'll tell you what, when she got that button to turn them off, their hostility went away. Their attitude changed. When they called, they were apologetic, and that just made a better life for her. So it's funny how that works. It's funny how when you have the upper hand, how people treat you. So it just, to me, it's like, hey, it's just a way to keep people honest. Like for me, I could care less, but for her, it was a big deal. So, all right. Well, anything else before we wrap up? I know some of you guys are going to be on my 2 o'clock crypto call. That is getting really exciting. So if any of you are on that, that would definitely get on there today. Good stuff going on. So, all right. Anything else before we wrap up? I'll be
Thanks,
back.
John. Always chock full of golden nuggets.
Yeah, it's like it's a bottomless pit. Every time I get on here, I think, God, last week was really good. What are we going to talk about this week? And it just unraveled.
John,
Well, I really
what's the
appreciate
timeline for
everybody
your
on the call.
plugin?
Mary, what was that?
I was just curious, what's the timeline for the plugin?
Uh, I am hoping to have it on our rollout on 2 weeks.
Okay.
So
You
that's
sound like that movie. 2 weeks, 2 weeks.
that is my hopes. I'm pushing hard. I'm pushing hard for it because we are going to start our launch on that week of Halloween week, and I really want that plugin to be part of that launch. And so if the plugin is not part of the launch, then the price is going to be radically dropped for the people that have to wait for it. So I'm pushing the team to get her done.
So if we buy that now, it's still on the beta pricing?
Yes. Yeah, you'll be able, whatever price you buy it at, you'll be able to keep that price.
Okay.
And like I said before, there'll be 3 different levels to it. There'll be the one level where you're just buying it for your own site, which will be a low price. Actually, they're all low price. The prices that we're doing this for is kind of ridiculous. But we'll have a pro level that, like, let's say you're an affiliate marketer and you've got, multiple sites you want to do it for yourself. We'll have that price. And then we'll have the agency level where you're going to do it for others and you get a bunch of them, and then you'll be able to buy it. It'll be just like seat licenses. You'll get so many for your monthly price, and then if you want more, you can just buy more seats. So, but
And
they'll be very, very inexpensive. Like if you're charging, let's say you're going to charge 97 a month, your price is, it's probably going to be like $10, something like that. So there's going to be a lot of markup for you. This should be incredibly lucrative for you guys.
are we
That's
going to
our
get an advanced purchase option, John?
that's our that's our whole point for doing this is to put life. Like I know I've served agencies for the last couple of decades. I've done a lot of offerings and a lot of services for agencies where, they're making the lion's share of the money, and that's fine. But I know their struggles. They struggled really, really hard with SEO for a long time. And not just because SEO got more difficult or whatever, it just got more competitive. The landscape just changed, right under our feet. And, at this point, that's really not a fun game anymore. SEO is like, I can't imagine going into that industry at this point. But this is going to be like a fresh new breath of life into all of those agency guys and gals that want to do it again. We all had a great run at it. We had a phenomenal run at web development. We had a phenomenal run at SEO. We had a phenomenal run at marketing. We've still got a phenomenal run at marketing and AI because so few people really know how to do it. Like there's nobody really teaching the ACT protocol. They're selling you pieces to a puzzle that you can never see the box to see what the picture is supposed to look like. So there's so much opportunity in offering services for businesses, with the whole rollout of AI and the optimization and all of that. So I look forward to doing what I can do to make as many people as much money as I possibly can before I sail off into the sunset. And so, all right, guys. Well, have a great week, and
John.
we'll be back regular time next week, and we'll see you then.
Bye, everyone.